back to another video celebrating 140 years of the city of Rogers through objects.
Today, we will look at objects from the late 19-teens all the way up to the 1950s. Let's take a look at these next 5 objects. Many of the citizens of early Rogers were members of various civic organizations, and John Wesley Bryant was no different. Bryant was a member of the Knights Templar, which is a subsect of the larger Freemasons organization. When we think of the Knights Templar, we often think of centuries long ago with knights in armor fighting during the Crusades. But as you can see from this uniform, worn by John Wesley Bryant, the more modern Knights Templar looks quite a bit different. While there is no noted connection between the Knights Templar during the Crusades and the Knights Templar of the Freemasons now, some symbols are shared. One such is a red-colored cross. This is because to be a member of the Freemasons, one must have a belief in a supreme being. And more specifically, to be part of the Knights Templar, a belief in Christianity is needed. The modern Knights Templar uniform consists of a jacket, a hat called a chapeau, pants, shirt and tie, dress shoes, gloves, and a sword. John Wesley Bryant's uniform here features his wool jacket with silk lining and the black feathery chapeau. Bryant would have worn this uniform during times of lodge meetings, public events, convocations, and award ceremonies, to name a few. As a charter member of the Rogers Knights Templar from 1917, John Wesley Bryant was honored in 1933 for his 40-plus years of membership within the Knights Templar and as a Freemason in general. Bryant moved to Rogers with his wife, Mary Ann Penelope Legg, whom he married in Seligman, Missouri in 1883.
This beautiful crystal drop candelabra lamp was from the Bryant Funeral Home that was located on 110 West Elm Street, just a few blocks away from the Rogers Historical Museum. This lamp, believed to be an oil lamp, is one of a pair from the funeral home that has been a part of the museum's collection since the museum opened in 1975. The Bryant Funeral Home served Northwest Arkansas during the first half of the 20th century and was operated by brothers B.F. and John Wesley Bryant, who were originally from Tennessee. John, whose Knights Templar uniform we just looked at, also acted as the funeral home's mortician and hearse driver.
The Doctor's Inn. Dr. William J. Curry was a doctor here in Rogers starting in 1894 when he moved his practice to town. He would go on to practice for the next 51 years until he was 94 years old. Prior to becoming the town's first doctor, Dr. Curry worked as the doctor of the Frisco Railroad. When Dr. Curry first started out, there were no real hospitals in the area, so he would make house calls to see the patients. Initially, Dr. Curry would perform these house calls while arriving on horseback, but in 1910, he switched to the newly invented Ford Model T. No matter his form of transportation though, Dr. Curry was always prepared for whatever his house calls might entail with his doctor's bag. Some of the items in this doctor bag include medicine bottles, various medical tools, a stethoscope, tubes of tablet medication, and suture needles, all of which you can see here on display.
A Tale of Two Nations is a book written by William Hope Harvey, more commonly known as Coin Harvey, and was first published in 1894. This copy of his book was published in 1931 and was signed and given to Vera Key by Coin Harvey himself. Vera Key was one of the key contributors and founders of the Rogers Historical Museum. The book itself is about British money lords who tried to destroy the American financial system. The British attempt to do this by bribing dishonest congressmen into demonetizing silver and destroying our international trade, all for the benefit of the United Kingdom. Coin Harvey worked in the silver mining and production industry in Utah. This is where his passion for making silver economically important really blossomed. At the turn of the 20th century, though, Harvey moved to Northwest Arkansas. Then, in 1900, he purchased 320 acres of land 5 miles from Rogers and would eventually build the resort town Montanay. Coin Harvey also wrote several other books in his lifetime, including Coin's Financial School and Paul's School of Statesmanship.
This fireman's jacket belonged to Frank Jacobs of St. James, Missouri, who moved with his family to Rogers in 1910. Jacobs was born in 1899 and at the age of 24 became the only paid full-time firefighter for the city. He remained the sole full-time paid fireman until 1946. In 1950, Frank Jacobs became the acting fire chief, and 3 years later, he was officially appointed fire chief for the city of Rogers. Finally, in 1966, Jacobs retired from the fire department after serving 43 years. During his tenure as a fireman, he also served a few years as a part-time motorcycle police officer. As you can see, Frank Jacobs' jacket was made out of black rubberized canvas material with a cotton flannel lining. Many firefighter jackets today, though, are made out of a type of fireproof fabric called Nomex, and is often combined with Kevlar to increase the jacket's strength and protection.
Thank you for joining us as we explored more objects from Rogers' past.
Make sure to stay tuned as we continue to celebrate 140 years of Rogers through more objects.
Bye!